Now, for more on all these latest global developments, we welcome Danon, the chairman of World Likud and the former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, and he joins us from the United States. Ambassador, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get to Israeli politics, let's start with the events that shook Washington on Wednesday as the world watched aghast. 5 people killed, several arrests with more to come. You've worked in the US for many years now. Talk us through your response to the carnage that we saw unfolding on the Capitol. Tell us what you were thinking.
No, we all grew up admiring the strength of democracy in the US. The US is a beacon for freedom and democracy. And it was very hard for all of us to watch those videos. We know it is not representing the culture, the values of the US. And I'm happy that democracy prevailed. I'm happy that the democracy is stronger than those rioters. We should all condemn what we saw. And we know that one of the things that brings us together with the American people, that we all cherish freedom, cherish democracy, even if it means that you have to move forward after the elections. That's what democracy is all about. And in Israel, we had the same government for almost 30 years. But in 1977, when Menachem Begin was elected, we saw democracy in action. We have to respect it.
Ambassador, do you think that Donald Trump should be impeached?
Well, I am not going to get involved in politics in the US. We have so much politics in Israel, in Jerusalem. And I will continue with my approach. I think I trust the system in the US. And I would say that, put aside all the political disputes, but Israel, we are grateful for the outgoing administration, for the bold move they took regarding the Middle East, regarding Israel. We see today the fruits of peace, the Abraham Accords. We have 14 flights a week from Tel Aviv to Dubai. So we are grateful for that, and mainly for the approach regarding the Iran deal. That is the main issue that we will discuss with the incoming administration. What will be their approach to the JCPOA?
I want to get back, though, to the US in terms of an issue that certainly is garnering much heated reaction, and those were the moves by social media giants to ban Donald Trump. It sparked a debate about freedom of speech, where one draws the line with inflammatory rhetoric. Who draws that line? What are your thoughts about the role that big tech is playing right now in the political world?
So I think we must have this dialogue. When I was serving in the Knesset, I started to have a conversation with major companies in Israel about who is drawing the line. Because, yes, we want to ensure freedom of speech, but we don't want that people will use those platforms to incite. But I think, when you speak about freedom of speech, you have to allow people to say things that you are not happy with. That's the meaning of democracy, not to hear what you like to hear. So I think in general, I would always support freedom of speech, including on different platforms. Only when it comes to national security or incitement, that's where you have to draw the line. But I think you have to be very careful before you shut down any account or anyone who wants to speak, even if it means that he says harsh things against you.
Now, of course, Ambassador, you made mention about the Biden-Harris administration. There had been concerns in Israel in recent months, given the close relationship Israel has enjoyed with the Trump administration, especially when it came to brokering those normalization deals that you mentioned, also in terms of the issue of Iran. How do you see the relationship between Jerusalem and Washington changing come the 20th of January, particularly over those issues?
So I'm sure we'll continue to work together with the new administration. Myself, I served at the UN for 5 years. I worked with both President Obama's administration and President Trump's administration, and we have strong ties. It's about our shared values, like I mentioned before. I think the one issue we have to pay attention is what the US will do regarding the Iran deal. During the campaign, we heard the voices calling for President-elect Biden to re-enter the agreement immediately without even negotiating the agreement. I don't think that will be a wise step for the president. I would advise him to first speak with the allies of the US in the region, mainly Israel, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf countries. And after you speak with your allies, you can come with ideas to the negotiating table. And you have to take into consideration that the Iranians are lying from the beginning. They proved that they don't respect the agreement that they signed. They continue to enrich uranium, and we will encourage the new administration not to try to appease the Iranians. On the contrary, to apply more pressure on them.
Now, you made mention earlier about the political situation, of course, here in Israel, a fourth election in the space of 2 years coming up in March. Do you think that Likud should be concerned by the support that Gideon Sa'ar's New Hope Party is garnering right now, especially on the right? And how do you see the chips falling in the coming months?
First, I hope we will have a government after the fourth elections in 2 years. I speak with head of states and I try to explain them our system. And democracy is a choppy system, it's a messy system, but what we are seeing now in Israel, it's almost a chaos. So I hope we will have a clear decision by the public and we're going to have a governing system soon. The way it looks from now, it will not be left against right anymore. The right-wing parties will get much more power than before, but within the right-wing party, you will have those who will support the prime minister and those who will be against him. So it will be very interesting to see how it will look like. But, personally, even though I'm a Likud member, for the day I was active, I think at the age of 8, I started my activities. When I look at what's happening today to the Labour Party, I don't identify with their ideas. But when you analyze our history, this party established many parts of our nation, and I don't think we will see this party after this upcoming election. So things will change after these elections. And
what role do you personally hope to be playing in the Israeli political world in the coming months? What are your aspirations right now personally?
So as the chairman of the World Likud, I was elected a few months ago, I will continue to promote the ideas, the ideology of the Likud party, and I will endorse the party in the upcoming elections, and I hope we will be leading the government. And personally, I intend to bring the experience I gained at the UN and support Israel. I still have a lot of friends worldwide, and we have a lot of things to accomplish. I hope that we will be able to do it with a Likud-led government.
And given exactly what you're saying, your experience in the international arena, give us a sense. We've had 4 elections in the space of 2 years. You used the word yourself, chaos politically. How is this all being perceived on the international stage in terms of, frankly, getting everybody's ducks in a row and getting a government that works for all the people? What is this reaction been like on the international arena to this chaos in the political arena in this side of the world?
So it doesn't support our position worldwide. With many leaders that I meet worldwide, including in the Gulf, they tell me that they want to do stuff with Israel, but they will wait. They will wait until they will see who is the next prime minister. It will probably take a few months until May 2021, and it's not good for our economy. One thing which is we have to agree that because of COVID, you don't have much of diplomacy in action today worldwide. But I think we have to get to a point that we have a government, we have a prime minister who is focused on leading the nation, and I hope we will be able to see it after March 23rd.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Danny Danon, the chairman of World Likud, and of course the former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. We appreciate your time from the United States. Thank you. Be well.
Thank you very much.